WWE's Money in the Bank was this past Saturday. There were highs, lows, and surprises. But did it hit jackpot, or was it a bust? Come along and let's see if Money in the Bank made the grade. First, we're going to stop in with Mikey, the pop culture geek, and see what his thoughts are. Take it away, Mikey.
Thanks, bud. So, I just immediately got finished watching Money in the Bank, and here are my initial thoughts. I thought overall this was a pretty decent pay-per-view, PLE, whatever WWE wants to call it these days. I really enjoyed it. I will say that this did feel a little weird because I felt the build and the actual payoff at Backlash was better than here at Money in the Bank. The men's Money in the Bank was pretty decent. I enjoyed it. I wanted a little bit of more in it. I mean, it's at this point, it's no secret. The WWE Universe and myself really wanted LA Knight to win. I'm happy Logan Paul didn't win, but I'm also happy to see Damian Priest win. After pulling off a phenomenal match against Bad Bunny at Backlash and just him doing what he's been doing for the last couple of weeks, even though he's losing a lot, this is a nice reward for him. So I'm interested to see what happens with all of that. The tag team women's championship match was short. I just hope we get an explanation as why Shayna Baszler turned on Ronda, but Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez are your new tag champs. Cool, I guess. But can we push Raquel to be a single star, and can we also push Liv to be a single star? I get we're restructuring the women's division, but I just wanted more out of that. The Intercontinental Championship match was fine for what it was. Obviously, Gunther and Matt Riddle have history, both in the independents and in WWE. Ultimately, I knew Gunther was going to win. I'm happy to see Drew McIntyre back, though I'm kind of surprised that he's coming back to enter a feud for a mid-card title. I know that the main event picture is going to be occupied for a little bit. I think that Dominic versus Cody, we got no Brock Lesnar coming now to either screw Cody out of the match or to have Dominic win. What are we doing? This was, to me, this was like the worst match of the pay-per-view in terms of storytelling because Cody beats Dominic despite Rhea interfering a lot. There was no real point. It was just to give Cody a feud leading to transition him into his actual feud for SummerSlam. So I wouldn't be surprised if on Monday Night Raw, Brock Lesnar and unalives him on live television on Monday. So that should be interesting. The women's Money in the Bank ladder match was probably the match of the night for me. All the women killed it. They all had some spots. I was happy to see Trish compete in her first ever ladder match period because women's wrestling didn't get a chance to do any of the cool stuff back in her prime during the mid 2000s. I am so happy that Io Sky is the winner. And hopefully it sets up her versus Asuka because I need that match like immediately. Easy match of the night for me. Seth versus Finn for the World Heavyweight Championship was alright. It was decent. No, it's not decent. It was good. I just wish they gave it more time. And this match really just served the purpose of to sow the seeds of dissension between the Judgment Day with Damian coming out and distracting Finn to have Seth pick up the win here. The Bloodline Civil War, I kind of wanted more from. I still enjoyed it. The storytelling was awesome leading into this and throughout the whole entire match. I do feel that this match could have been a couple minutes shorter than it actually was. But the fact that Jey Uso got to pin Roman Reigns after 3 years of Roman going unpinned in his matches since he's become champion was probably a shock to a lot of people, myself included. So I really don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, we're going to get Roman versus Jey, I hope, at SummerSlam. But my question is, does Jey take the titles from Roman? I would like to see him take it and kind of end this Bloodline storyline with a nice little bow. It started with Jey 3 years ago, and it should be ending with Jey. And this would be, hands down, go down as one of the top stories of WWE in the modern era. But ultimately, I think this was a pretty decent pay-per-view. But why not trust my opinion? Let's get our opinion of JVL. So, JVL, what do you got to say, bud?
Oh, wow. It is about 1:30 in the morning here on Sunday, July 2nd, 2023, and I am giving you my initial results and thoughts about WWE's Money in the Bank from London, England. This is the JVL part of this review, and thank you, by the way. Hi, Mikey. Very up and down show. A lot of twists and turns, a lot of interesting takes on kind of what people thought would happen, but not giving us the exact opposite of which we thought would happen. They swerved us a couple times. It was really weird. We'll get to the first match first. So, started off with a bang. Men's Money in the Bank ladder match. We had all of our lovely competitors out there going back and forth. This match was kind of set up as both a lot of hard hits on ladders that didn't break, so broken competitors, and then a really nasty spot where a Spanish fly that almost didn't happen between Ricochet and Logan Paul led to some blood and some people stuck on the floor. But we didn't get LA Knight, who everyone thought was going to get the briefcase, which is, he doesn't really need it. He's over, but still would have been nice to get. We didn't get Logan Paul, who was the marketing side of the event that people thought would happen. We get Damian Priest, which sets up a lot of good storyline possibilities going in with the Judgment Day as we go along here. So overall, great on that. Big swerve on that. Move on to the next match. It's Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Raquel Gonzalez or Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. And you thought this was kind of a tied and true match. It's going to be, those two doing their thing and getting things done, and Ronda and Shayna walking out. But out of nowhere, Shayna betrays Ronda. All of a sudden sets it up. We have new tag champs, and now do we have Ronda and Shayna going at it? I think Shayna would be an amazing person to go after Rhea, now that Rhea might have some time to do things because she's not being used at all. By the way, no women's matches on this card, no tag matches on this card for the tag belts other than the women's belts. Very odd setup. Just didn't know what was happening there. Moving on to our next match, we had Matt Riddle versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, and this kind of went two-pieced, basically. We knew there was going to be an ending around Matt Riddle's ankle. We knew it was going to be a hard-hitting match. Riddle got more in than I thought he would, but honestly, it was kind of a ho-hum Gunther match. He kind of carried them throughout the whole thing. Not really worth it, although the entrance was worth it to have Giovanni Vinci both back there with the rest of Imperium and setting it up. Then Drew McIntyre appears, a wild Drew McIntyre out there. We all got to ride down the Scottish cycle path as he claymored Gunther and set up, hopefully, a match at SummerSlam. Does this mean that Drew is back with the company? Does this mean that he has figured things out? Or does this mean he was just in Scotland visiting family and said, you know what, I could use a paycheck? So we had that match. We then move on to our next match that went kind of to plan. Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio. Rhea Ripley out there causing distractions, Latino heat references all over the map. Dominic getting more offense in than I thought he would, and Cody selling for him, which was great. Setting up Dominic, showing that he has actually grown as a wrestler over this time period. Still not ready for that kind of push, but I wish he would win a match here and there. Cody wins. No Brock Lesnar appearance, which was kind of strange. We all expected some sort of attack. The crowd was intense, as per usual. London crowd, the best crowd in the world right now because they've needed this. It was great to hear them chanting soccer chants and everything else around here and singing Cody's song, although I must say they sang the words that the Dark Order did, so that was really good. But moving on from there, a wild John Cena appearance, actually. He just showed up, cut a promo, trying to sell WrestleMania in London, next year, which everyone would love. Grayson Waller comes out, tries to sell it to him, gets a cheap shot in. John Cena knocks him down, does his AA, and runs out. And while John Cena looking a lot smaller than usual, still doing his thing, good to see him there, and it was a well put together part right there, kind of a nice little break. Now we get into kind of a weird setup in terms of match order. So they went to the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which was ecstatically awesome. People singing about Bayley, the hey Bayley stuff is great. I love seeing that all the time. She got it there. She actually gave into it by the end of it and did an elbow drop off the ladder, which she hasn't done an elbow drop like that in a long time. Trish Stratus' nose busted open. Zoe Stark taking a lot of offense. Io Sky getting thrown about. And Becky Lynch in a Phoenix-inspired thing, Phoenix from the X-Men, basically kicking ass. And we did take bets, and she lasted about 4 minutes into the match before ripping both sets of tights she was wearing. So Becky, new record. Awesome. There was a scary spot with trying to get some handcuffs on Becky, where she ended up having one on. It kind of made no sense for a little while until we got to the end. Becky fish hooks Bayley with the handcuffs, which is an awful spot, and then Bayley trying to shove it back in her mouth at the same time. And then Io Sky locking them together inside the ladder, climbing Bayley to get the briefcase. I love that part of it. I also love neither of the Money in the Bank winners tonight cashed in their Money in the Bank. They didn't do it. They held on to it. Let's see how long they can get it for them, because this has been, especially with the women's one, a problem. Moving on, then we went to the match that I think should have gone before this because it was the way the crowds were a little bit tired and everything else, was the World Heavyweight Championship match between Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. It should have gone on before the women's match. It was slower paced. These two guys have a great work rate, but it seems like they were definitely playing up the injury aspect, but also playing it safe. There could have been some great permutations out of this, and Seth Rollins ends up taking the victory. Finn Balor is messed up by a turnbuckle again, although it was Damian Priest coming out with the Money in the Bank briefcase and threatening Seth, but also kind of threatening that he was going to roll in and take Finn's win, and that's just creating Judgment Day problems. So, obviously, it's a good thing to set up storyline, but it just didn't seem like it had the energy it needed, and I think if it had gone before the women's ladder match, going into the Bloodline match, it would have been a better flow of the evening. Then we end on the implosion and Civil War of the Bloodline, which, has the classic Uso entrance and then had a long, involved Roman entrance with Solo, as we knew would happen. Took them 15 minutes to do 5 moves with rests and stuff, and not even playing to the crowd, just resting around, talking it through, psychology. Paul Heyman holding 3 belts. Why does he still have the other 2 belts? Has someone explained this to me? I don't think so. Come to a big spot where the 2 Usos get a spear on Roman, and then Solo goes wild, but gets taken out in there, tries to help Roman out, ends up on the outside, goes through the table himself, the outside announce table, he's out. The Usos pick apart Roman, they pin Roman, Jay pins Roman 1, 2, 3, the Bloodline is dissolved. What's going to happen on Monday? Who knows? They let Roman take the pin. Honestly, the crowd was so into this by the end of it, they were chanting some stuff I couldn't figure out. This is a classic Roman match, and of course we had the classic, in every match is a freaking ref bump, and yes, Roman lost, but I'm sick of the ref bumps in Roman matches. It's every match now. It's not a special thing. It's considered usual, and this has been 3 years of this, so let's hope this does something to help out with that, and honestly, I'm hoping for better. So overall, my grade for Money in the Bank, I thought it was pretty good. A little more the middle of the road, some definite swerves in there that were interesting, but could I have probably taken 2 matches off and not even cared? Probably. The John Cena promo went on too long. Did we need to set up this pin of Roman here and not SummerSlam? I don't know what that's coming out to. Probably. So the Bi-conics Wrestling Podcast had our thoughts. We'll be more in depth and more rested next time, but for now, I'm JVL.
Thanks, JVL. Now let's check in with the professor and see what he has to say.
Money in the Bank! No time to waste! Let's talk about it! The night started off with the Money in the Bank ladder match. It was fantastic. I really liked this match. LA Knight is over internationally. The crowd was cheering for everything LA Knight did. I thought that was hilarious. Everything LA Knight did, the crowd goes, yeah, and just cheers. Anytime anyone shoved him or punched him or touched him within the first 5 minutes of that match, massive boos. It was hysterical to me. Just this, yeah, boo, yeah, boo. There were a lot of great spots in that match. Ricochet diving between the A-frame of the ladders to land on the outside was ridiculous. A lot of people are reporting on it. I've read a few articles already, even though Money in the Bank was just a few hours ago, and people are still talking about it. People think Ricochet might have gotten hurt at some point. Don't know when. Probably a big spot like that. Oh, yeah! And diving onto Logan Paul onto 2 tables that were... lots of great stuff happened in this match. Lots of controlled danger. At no point did I feel like it was unsafe. I felt like they did a really good job of taking care of each other and still doing really beautiful, dangerous things. It pleases me. It warms me in the cockles of my heart, even beneath the cockles, somewhere near the colon, that Logan Paul is hated internationally. I hate to say this. It hurts my tongue. Logan Paul made this match better. Why? Because he's hated so much by everybody, particularly in London, apparently, that everything that happened to him just kept that energy going. Someone threw a Prime bottle. I don't know if anyone else caught it. Someone threw a Prime bottle. I don't know if it hit Logan Paul. That would have been great. But somebody definitely threw a Prime bottle and then would look like a pair of glasses at some point at Logan Paul in the beginning of the match. I thought that was a funny little thing that got... So the crowd is hating Logan Paul, and then Logan Paul does a beautiful frog splash. And then the crowd flips and still chants, "You still suck. You still suck. Can't win over." Like, London, I was very proud of you. I thought that was fantastic. I was shocked a little by the ending. I was not expecting Damian Priest to walk away with it. Because now, like we've talked about on this podcast in the past, you kind of write yourself into a corner again. What are you going to do with Judgment Day? Where are you going to go with this angle where we don't know where the angles are going to go? Foreshadowing the end of the night, near the end of the night, which was a really interesting twist with the Finn Balor Seth Rollins match. I don't know where you go from here. What do you do? Do you break up the Judgment Day? Do you milk toast this Judgment Day thing and be like, we're just going to ignore the fact? Do you go back to the normal trope of, I'm jealous, I want it, but I have it thing? I'm going to give this match a solid B+, almost an A-. In my opinion, it would have been an A if Santos or LA Knight won it, because that would have been really cool. There were some great spots in here. It was controlled. We were in, we were out of the ring. It was a lot of fun. I had fun watching this. I had fun. Moving on. So the women's tag match happened. It's very easy to hate Ronda Rousey. Everybody seems to hate Ronda for various reasons. Fine. She's made her whole career about people hating her. Fine. Very solid match from her, technically. Nothing was wrong with Ronda Rousey's performance. It was just kind of a meh match, which got weird based on how it ended. I actually really like Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez as a team. I thought they worked really well together. I was definitely watching this match begging for them to show me something. Like, show me something that's inspiring, show me something to do. And there were a few glimpses of that. And I'm not saying I wasn't entertained. I was just sort of, I just wanted more from it. So Baszler turns on Ronda Rousey at the end of this match out of nowhere and for no reason. There was no reason for this to happen. Nobody said, I hate you too. Nobody said, we want our 13 colonies back. Out of nowhere, Shayna Baszler just goes, meh, I don't like you. Beats up her friend, leaves Ronda Rousey in the middle of the ring. Raquel and Liv Morgan take advantage of it. They become the new tag team champions. Great. Why? Why did we go through so much pain and anguish? Why are we still watching this happen? To quote Simon Miller, why? Why are we doing this? I don't know where we go from here. Now Shayna Baszler has to get on the mic and explain why. And we all know how ugly that might go. Gunther and Matt Riddle, I had no reason to see this match. I love Matt Riddle. I'm a fan. I love the Gunther. Gunther's amazing. Why are we here? It seems like the only reason to have this match was to give McIntyre a reason to show up. And McIntyre shows up. Maybe that means McIntyre is back with the WWE. Maybe that means we're going to see him at SummerSlam. Or at some other point? I don't know. This whole match was just sort of chops. I will say I was laughing when Gunther was chopping the foot of Matt Riddle to sort of break the ankle through the foot sort of moment there. I'm not exactly sure what that was. So that was kind of a funny moment. But otherwise, this match was just, technically fine, but there was kind of I had no real reason to want to watch it. Dominic Mysterio and Cody Rhodes, again, I had no real reason. There's no real reason to have this match. The storyline's been kind of shoehorned into Monday Night Raw for some reason. I don't think there was a lot of enthusiasm in the crowd for this match, for lack of a better term. I will say the best part of this match was watching Rhea Ripley walk out with some hair. I mean, it was a good match. There was some storytelling in there. There was a few good moments, but overall there was nothing that made me go, oh wow, look at what I'm watching. Cody Rhodes takes off the cast and we realize, oh look, his arm isn't broken. And Dom runs away only to be nonchalantly grabbed and walked back to the ring like, okay, fine. A few outlets have reported that Dom needs to cheat to win matches like this, and nobody bought that Cody was really going to lose, and Dom never really cheated, and Rhea Ripley never really got in the way, so it was just sort of build. It's over! And now what? I mean, it's a solid B, maybe B-. I wanted a little more out of it. Nah. The pop in London for John Cena was heard round the world. That was awesome. I don't like Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller is probably a great wrestler. I want to see him wrestle. I haven't seen him wrestle since I've been tuning into wrestling. I know he's been hurt for a long time. Maybe I love to hate Grayson Waller. Let me put it that way. Fantastic performer. Has me all in on hating him. And London hates Australia. I didn't know that. I mean, I knew it was probably a rivalry, but I didn't know that London, like, middle finger hated Australia. So that was actually a cool spot. I think the promo ran a little long, but it was great to see John Cena. Why not? Hey, John Cena! Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I was pulling for Selena Vega or Io Sky, and I was very happy to see Io Sky get the win here. Coming off of Backlash, I guess everyone who really showed up for Backlash got their moments to shine tonight. Maybe I gotta rethink some of the Damian Priest plot lines. I just made those synapses just now connected. It was a big deal for this to be Trish Stratus's first career ladder match. It looked like Trish broke her nose at one point. I don't know if anybody saw the big bruisey, tiny cut thing on Trish. So, you know, you hope Trish is okay. A little clunky at times, but, you know, fought through. Still a veteran. Still took some gnarly bumps and flew off and whatnot. Speaking of which, Selena Vega doing, I just forgot, the red moon, Code Red! It's a Code Red! That was a vicious looking one. Put Stark right through the ladder and just gnarly looking. Like, wow, that was awesome. I love the storytelling of the handcuffs in here. Bringing it out for Becky Lynch, and then Becky Lynch trying not to get handcuffed, and then Bayley and Becky Lynch getting handcuffed under the thing. I was waiting for that. I wanted to see someone get handcuffed, and they couldn't reach it, and then it happened, and I love the storytelling in this match. It was great. The women were incredibly athletic. Really great spots. I don't have a lot of notes on this because I was enthralled with watching this. I said out loud to the TV, "Ugh, gross," as the handcuff went into the mouth and and Becky Lynch fish hooks Bayley down to the bottom. I was like, I love it. That's cool. Okay. Seth Rollins and Finn Balor was fantastic, I thought. These two have just great old school chemistry in the ring. I don't know how much of this was thought out beforehand or how much of it was called in the ring itself. Didn't matter. Beautiful. Every spot was fluid. There was this illusion of every time Seth started to get a little bit of momentum or start to figure things out, Finn Balor would come in and knock it away, and then vice versa. There was frustration here. There were near falls here. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this match. And I was glad to see at the end of this match that Damian Priest shows up with the briefcase. I wanted Damian Priest to cash it in. I thought it was going to happen right then and there, because in my brain, that would have been great. That could have been really wild. I understand we want to build tension. We want to see this jealousy thing of Finn at the end of the match saying, "Are you here for that or are you here for me?" And repeated it 10 or 12 times because there's not a lot of dialogue. Fighting over the WWE Universal Heavyweight Mother Brain Championship belt. It looks like a brain. It's a brain belt. It looks like Krang, old school TMNT. It's a weird looking belt. There, I said it. Finally, we get to the match that we've been waiting for years. The Civil War between the Usos, Solo Sikoa, Roman Reigns versus the Usos. I had a blast watching this match. Really milked the intro, though. Which, in the end, was a good payoff, right? Because we got a fantastic match. The Usos, still probably one of the top 5 tag teams of all time, if not the greatest. Incredible work in the ring. They had great moments to act that sort of, this hurts our family, I don't want to hurt you, particularly with Solo. There was a lot of great moments in there. Solo would be my vote for Tribal Chief. Solo is a beast, and we really got to see him on display beating up his brothers. I made a joke on the podcast a few weeks back, and I've been joking in our group text for Bi-conics that I wanted Rikishi to come back. They're hinting at Rikishi being involved in this Civil War bloodline thing, and all of a sudden Michael Cole says Rikishi would be proud, and I lost my mind, and I was waiting for something that I knew wouldn't happen, but I would have loved to see Rikishi come down and just maul Roman Reigns, and then put big thing into small thing, and then there's a few other news outlets that are reporting all of the references to family members like The Rock and Rikishi and other Fatu members who had spots that were kind of paid homage to in this match. I think that's really, really cool. Jay hits the super kick after many other things happen, and we get Roman Reigns pinned for the first time since December 15th, 2019. That's ridiculous. And I kind of like Michael Cole bringing up the whole he's mortal, he's human, he can be beaten thing, because now we're finally alluding to the end of the title reign. Now someone has to step up and knock Roman Reigns down and win, and who's it going to be? Where are we going to go? Again, this bloodline thing has kind of written itself into a corner. I don't know where we're going to go. Overall, Money in the Bank 2023 in London, you killed it. I think overall, a very, very solid pay-per-view. A lot of great matches in there. A solid B+. It would have been an A- if LA Knight won. Sorry, I'm biased. Or Santos. Or if Santos won. If Santos won, A-, bang, right there. Thought it was a blast. They went to London. They did a great job. They proved that they can go to London and put on great shows. I would love to see WrestleMania in London 2 years from now because we got Philly first. It is kind of obvious that they're trying to get into London because AEW is getting into London and maybe more international things are going to happen, but who knows? A solid B+ for me, John the Professor. That's my review of Money in the Bank. This is the Bi-conics Wrestling Podcast. I'm going to go. Thanks, all Downfall.
Money in the Bank. There were some highs, there were some lows, and some surprises. But the overall Bi-conics grade is a B.